All right, so there's a lot of poses in yoga, but if you truly go towards the center of centers, so if you go towards the center of your body, you can make it so that you don't have all these health problems. So everything from asthma to scoliosis to dementia, like you can change how your body grows and regenerates. So the first thing you should understand is that there's ways to work your breath, not just the body or the mind. You can change the breathing. So this goes towards stuff like having some type of asthma or breathing disorder in general. Most of the body's respiration pieces are large organs. So when you aim at focusing all of your, shall we say, progressive intent at stuff like breath work, you get the median or the in between, something like the mind, something like the breath. So, what we'll do is we'll aim at the center of the body, and from there, we'll work our way out. And we're going to go with meditations and ways to breathe because most people who know about this stuff don't even speak English. So, to learn it from a Westerner is extremely difficult. Westerners don't necessarily delve this far into Sanskrit generally. So, first, we'll go with meditations. Try to keep it just positive. So, your definition or your perspective of positive for you. Try to keep everyone else at a different time, at a different place of your concern. Try to meditate purely on what you're aiming to change. So, for meditation of a positive style, you're going to start to attract positive to you. So everything's magnetic. So you fill yourself with positive thoughts, you magnetize positive thoughts. You fill yourself with negative thoughts, you magnetize negative everything. So when you keep it to a self progress, positive type only way of thinking. So whatever you do, the creativity is unlimited. It's completely, there's no rules. It's all freedom. Everything is creative. Like everything's creativity, even if it's something done a million times or a billion times, but in a different way slightly, becomes something new. So when you go through these different ways of thinking, there's countless ways of meditating. There's more ways to meditate than there are ways to breathe or ways to move the body. So with the highest amount of creativity or the highest amount of potentialities, you can do the most with meditation. So we'll talk about meditation at later times if anyone ever wants it. But next we'll go towards breath work. So we'll go with over breathing and under breathing first. We'll just label it in two distinct categories for now. We'll say neutrality is not breathing, we'll say over breathing, under breathing, and then, you know, normalish will go both ways of neutrality. So let's say over breathing is doing something like the breath work you would do while running. So in the nose, out the mouth, in the nose, out the mouth as quickly as you can. So, or you go a different way. So we'll say what's considered retention. So the breath works that are quicker, something like Bastrika, Kapalabhati, the quick ones like I just demonstrated. We'll say for Westerners, we'll call it runner's breath or something like that. But as you go towards a slow breath or the slowest of breaths, you're talking about something more like Kumbhaka, which is retention of breath. So holding the breath while full or empty. So after exhalation or after inhalation. The way to go about this differs for each person. So you just add more time as you hold the breath. So if you're at 5 seconds, aim for 6. If you're at 40 minutes, aim for 40 minutes and higher. So as you go through these different types of breathing and these different types of thinking while in the poses, that's when you affect all the changes. So most of the stuff that Western medicine deals with is stuff that they want your money for. If you can fix it without money and grow past it and not need help again, money is not really a part of self-healing or health in general. Having said all this, yoga predates money. Money's been around like 6,000 years. Yoga's been around like 20,000 years. So do the math. A system that was created after money is going to look for money, and a system created prior to money is going to not care about money. So, as you practice these different types of breathing, I'm going to teach other types of breathing as we go through, because yoga isn't the only discipline that teaches breath works. So we'll go over breath works from a bunch of different things, cultures, eras, etc., etc. But first, we're going to go with standing poses, then we're going to go with some kneeling poses, and then some seated poses, in that order. So, first, a standing forward fold. Legs together, at the hips, and then going upwards in the spine, aiming at the head last. Now, if this is too difficult for you, even taking a slight forward fold and reversing the arms, so stretching all the muscles in the front of the torso and contracting all the muscles on the rear top of the torso. Go the opposite way. If this forward fold is not intense enough, go further. Take the head more towards the legs. The opposite to this, to open up the other portions of the spine, go backwards. So taking the spine in a rear sense towards the back of the body. Depending on how comfortable you are with all this, you can just do the top of the head. So you can just take the head and work backwards, or taking the hands more towards where the sternum is and pressing the sternum backwards. Again, most of this should be done in the hips, but if your lower back is too tight, take your time and go sideways. So, as the spine goes forwards and backwards, you're trying to go sideways with it now. So even slightly raising one elbow and lowering and crossing the other. So forward bend with the spine, rear bend with the spine, side bends with the spine, then spinal twists. Try the arms, or you could do it without arms. So without arms, you're just taking the spine going upwards and ending with the head. So as you take your time and use the muscles on the left or right of the body and the muscles that rotate the spine, going more towards a kneel. So as you're in a kneeling pose, taking a forward fold, although I might be out of the picture. So we'll just lower this ever so slightly. And continue with the poses. So the kneeling pose, keeping the hips up and going towards the bow, or if you can stay in a kneel and grab the heels. Again, forward with the spine, backwards with the spine. Sideways with the spine. So as you bring one elbow up, one elbow down, or rotating. One shoulder down in front, one shoulder up and back, one shoulder down and back, one shoulder up in front, etc., etc. Take your time. As you go through this, this works on all the organs. This isn't just for the muscles. You're working mostly at the bone structures and everything in between, mostly the organs, the circulation. So Those are the kneeling poses. We'll go towards the seated poses. Legs straight, once again, about shoulder width. I'm trying to demonstrate exactly so you can see every single muscle, every single breath. However, a little difficult on this platform, but seated forward fold, if this is too difficult, go as far as you can with the torso, rotate the arms up perhaps, or go as far as you can with the torso, and then head all the way down. Now, if you're practiced at this, feel free. Grabbing the feet, and grabbing the big toes in particular, having such large connections to the sciatic nerve, allow yourself to breathe the whole time. Please continue the rotation and circulation of your oxygen, because it's either lactic acid or oxygenation as to which circulates. Now, forward with the spine, backward with the spine. This is an easy way. Technically, this is more of a seated backward bend. So depending upon how you decide to go about a back bend. Allow yourself, please, any spinal rotations at any point, because any change of motion will change what you feel. So allowing yourself to go in between different types of pleasure while you go through the smaller amounts of pain is going to allow you to end with pleasure rather than pain. So it's almost a form of keeping moving while taking a static pose. So I hope you liked this tiny video. Please feel free. My name is Dane Schneider. My IG is Dane Schneider 47 or Mixed Yogas. I'll be putting more of these videos out, so